What's up, Collateral Cinema fans? This is our podcast shout out for this episode, and we are shouting out a podcast by some pretty awesome YouTubers, pretty well-known guys as well, and that's the Sardonicast, featuring Ralph Seppi, aka Ralph the Movie Maker, Adam Johnston, aka Your Movie Sucks, and Alex Beltman, aka I Hate Everything. It's a fun show to check out, especially if you love those YouTube channels, which, by the way, I highly recommend you go and check out their episodes. They're really, really cool. And the podcast is a lot of fun as well. So check them out wherever you get your podcasts. And with that said, on with the show. I'm Beau Maddox.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Robert Ortegon. I'm Dakota Chancellor.
This is Collateral Cinema. Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We're podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast, so whatever you have, be it dabs, be it blunts, be it bongs, be it joints, smoke it if you got it. And welcome to our special anniversary episode. 2 years on, ladies and gentlemen, and we are excited to be here. We're excited to be close to 5,000 downloads.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, that is so awesome. What do you think, Dakota?
I think that's pretty awesome as well.
Hell yeah. And you'll probably hear that for some reason Robert Ortegon is not here. I don't know why he couldn't celebrate our anniversary.
Motherfuckery.
Yeah, our Miike-versary, I should say.
Our Miike-versary, yeah, exactly. That's going to be a Collateral Cinema tradition from now on.
Exactly. We're going to do Takashi Miike movies every anniversary.
And there's plenty of movies because the dude directed over 100 movies, so...
Oh, yeah, literally. Hundreds of movies. Like, his output is mind-boggling. I mean, I think that we've talked about that on some of our other episodes regarding Takashi Miike and his movies.
Yeah, we definitely did it our last anniversary special on Ichi the Killer.
And of course, our pilot episode, which you can find anywhere you get your podcasts, which doesn't have all the people that are here on the show now, unfortunately.
Yeah, that was quite a different setup, starting from our pilot episode, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we did Ichi the Killer last season, and the pilot episode was Audition, and this movie is quite possibly one of his most wild movies out there. Probably his weirdest movie, I would say.
Oh, yeah, you know, incest, we got it. Yeah. Lactation, look no further.
Necrophilia,
plenty.
All the necrophilia.
Scat,
Jesus.
You know it. We got it all. That is, ladies and gentlemen, Takashi Miike's Visitor Q.
Yeah, I've had this movie for quite a while now. I've had it for close to 10 years. This came out in 2002. I maybe found it roughly 2007, 2008. And from what I understand, the copy that I have is a collector's item. Because, I mean, this movie, it wasn't really released that widely outside of Japan and everything.
It's not real well known. I will put it that way. And Takashi Miike is known somewhat, you know, throughout the world for some of his more well-known works. This one's a little more obscure, and honestly, I'm surprised because this is definitely the wildest film from him I've seen so far.
It's not even the wildest film I've seen from him.
Okay.
Honestly. I mean, there's some of his movies that, while they're not entirely as disturbing as this or as Ichi or Audition, they're still real mind trip material, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
And he even has some straightforward Yakuza films, and he has Yakuza films that are out there as Ichi the Killer as well, and he even has other different types of genres. But like I said, we've gone into that a little more in depth on some of our other Takashi Miike episodes. But this movie started as part of a Japanese filmmaking initiative, which was meant to showcase digital video, which was at the time kind of in its infancy, at least good digital video.
Yeah, and that comes through here. You can see the novelty of digital film, as a new medium, but also the quality, I guess. It's really got that found footage quality.
Yeah, we'll get a little more into the found footage elements of this picture here in a little bit, but I mean, I don't really recall what the other movies were that were released as part of this initiative, but I remember seeing some of the clips on YouTube and everything, and I mean, a lot of it looked pretty interesting, but I mean, not nearly as penetrating and thoughtful as this movie.
Yeah, this movie's got all of the elements of a shock film, except Miike never does shock for the sake of shock. There's always some kind of social commentary behind it, and even if it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around, that's definitely still the case here. This movie is no exception to that.
Oh, I mean, definitely. And the digital video of that time, I mean, of course it's nowhere near what we have now. We have like ultra 4K recording just on our iPhones, right? Like 1080p.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we can do 4K video on the iPhone now.
Yeah, and it's been that way for several versions now, from what I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. We were filming with Robert for his short film, and I was honestly surprised by the clarity and the quality that we can achieve with that medium now.
Yeah, but I mean, it still has a little bit of that charm that this movie has a little bit. What we filmed, kind of aesthetic wise,
right? Like if you look like the aspect ratio, the size of the camera.
Yeah. And he was using pretty high-end digital technology at the time, but at that point in the early 2000s, you just didn't really see a whole lot of movies being made with this type of technology.
You still don't. I think most filmmakers still prefer to use, 35 millimeter, right?
A lot of them prefer to do it. I mean, it just depends on what type of feel you're going for.
Right.
Like some people will go with like 16 millimeter, I think, or sometimes a higher millimeter.
Right.
But what is that size for?
What's up?
What is that sizing for, the millimeter?
It just kind of gives a different aspect ratio, a different frame rate and everything.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Have you seen Gozu? It's another Miike film.
I have Gozu.
You do have Gozu.
Okay. In fact, that's probably going to be next year's.
That's what I was.
That's going to be next year's Miike-versary movie.
I believe so. It.
No, don't look anything up on that movie.
Don't look it up?
No.
Okay.
Don't spoil that movie because... I mean, I might even show y'all that movie before we even get to our anniversary next year, but no, that's going to be something really interesting to get into, especially that ending.
What about 13 Assassins?
I have that movie as well. That's more of a straight-up Chinbari film, more or less. It's a samurai movie.
He did Phoenix Wright.
Oh, yeah.
Video game adaptation, and recently JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, only he could bring JoJo to the big screen, as far as I'm concerned.
I can see that, definitely.
Only Takashi Miike can do it because his vision is just that unique.
Yeah.
But he's also done lots of children's movies. He's done, he did a movie called The Great Yokai War, which was really cool. I mean, I don't know if we've gone into any of this on the previous episodes. Like I said, we have talked about his previous work.
We've discussed his filmography before, but there's just so many films that I wouldn't be surprised if there's some that we've missed. I mean, there's no way we've got them all.
Oh yeah. I mean, he has other trilogies, like the Shinjuku Triad trilogy and the...
I'm sure we mentioned Dead or Alive.
Yeah, the Dead or Alive trilogy, which is fucking fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I mean, the three movies are not related in any way other than having the same starring actors.
Well, it's supposed to be like a reincarnation kind of thing, from what I understand. That's kind of how it works with Dead or Alive. But of course, I mean, this movie is more of like a slice of life family drama gone absolutely batshit.
Yeah.
And it's really based off of a movie that a director named Pier Paolo Pasolini did. He did Salo or the 120 Days of Sodom, which I might bring to the podcast next season, and you're going to have to see it, and it's not going to be pretty. You hear that, Dakota?
I don't like the sound of that.
Oh no, you will. That will break you, people. It'll break the both of you.
This movie was pretty fucked up, I gotta say.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I think Ichi was more fucked up than this one. But maybe that's just me.
Ichi's just way more stylized, though, to me. That it just doesn't come off as disturbing. This movie, to me, is more funny than disturbing.
I didn't want to watch it though. Like that necrophilia shit. Like I had to look away. I honestly, I don't know. I couldn't watch that shit.
I mean, there's just that, the best part of the whole movie, the moment that made me just go, what? No, is the part where, he's fucking the corpse, right? And then all of a sudden he's realizing that she's wet, and he's like, oh, it's the miracle of life, and of course he's saying all this in Japanese, which somehow just makes it more hilarious. And then he pulls his hand up, and there's shit on his hand, actual feces, and that's why she was wet. And then his dick gets stuck inside of her because of rigor mortis.
Yeah, we'll discuss the more disturbing elements here a little later, but the digital video, at least from the point of view shots in this movie, it was pretty much kind of proto found footage, wasn't it?
Yeah, it definitely has aspects of found footage. I mean, found footage in and of itself, I think kind of needs to be 100% shot in that style, I think, to be considered a quote-unquote found footage film. But certainly there is elements of that.
Yeah, I mean, this movie uses elements of digital video in a found footage style, and it also kind of intersperses it with just still shots as well, like especially in the very first scene, the incest scene.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, you have the daughter. She's using a digital camera to continuously take pictures of the whole situation, and you see those pictures kind of interspersed here and there, in certain frames.
It's very slow too. The beginning, the pacing there. It's interesting because the whole first half of the movie kind of is very slow paced, and then all of a sudden, just chaos ensues at right about the halfway point.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to kind of have that slice of life feel to it, which is a genuine genre of entertainment in Japan, like both with anime and live action. And whereas like Audition was kind of like a romantic family drama gone wrong, this is just a slice of life series gone wrong. I mean, Dakota, have you ever watched any types of anime like that? It's just kind of slice of life. It's just basically a day in the life of a particular family or a particular character. Like,
I really don't watch anime. Ash is the weeaboo of the family. Unfortunately,
have you seen any other like TV shows or movies that might fit that realm a little bit?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
I mean, I don't know. There's like the Cosby Show.
Yeah. Malcolm in the Middle.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure we should bring up the Cosby Show because, Cosby's a fucking creeper.
Yeah, but it felt oddly appropriate.
Oh my God.
So
Oddly
did you know Hogan and Thor? You know who Hogan is, right? The Asian guy?
Uh-huh.
The Asian guy, that's Ichi. The same actor.
Yeah, I did know that.
No, Kakihara, not Ichi. It's Kakihara.
Yeah.
The guy who
That's
plays the
he plays Kakihara in Ichi the Killer.
Oh, okay.
He's in the
Hogan.
MCU films.
Yeah.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he's in the Thor films in particular.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's done a little bit. He was also in this other movie. What was it? I can't even hold on a second.
What are you trying to look for, Dakota?
Mongol. That was the movie he was in.
Oh, okay.
Mongol, The Rise of Genghis Khan. Yeah, he was in that movie.
Oh,
it's actually probably his biggest movie.
Wow, really? When did that come out?
08, I think. 07.
Oh, wow. Nice. So, ever since the early 2000s, we touched upon it a little bit at the beginning, but, how far has digital video come since then? I mean, like we said, we pretty much made a fucking movie ourselves. Robert and I, we made it just on our iPhones.
It's certainly more accessible. And I think maybe that was kind of the point with digital film to an extent. And maybe what this film sort of satirizes?
Yeah, maybe to an extent. I mean, it kind of satirizes the intimacy of digital video in a way. There's a real intimacy to it that's kind of really subverted a bit,
Yeah, I know what you mean. And of course, this film, I think, has that feel. I mean, I think we were noticing him in particular, and there's that one scene where you can see the boom mics in the shot.
Oh, that happens actually a few times throughout the movie.
A few times. But in particular, I remember one time when we've got the mother in the room, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned this, and I said, well, why would they need a boom mic in a room, where when there's just no sound? It's a completely silent scene. And you brought up a good point that for, acoustics, you want that stuffy room ambience.
You want that room ambience. I mean, in reality, no room is truly quiet.
なかなか分かりませんでした。でも今やっと分かりました。それは怒りでもありませんでした。悲しみでもありませんでした。あそこが感じてしまったんです。あそこが感じてしまったんです。あそこが。この子ちょっと殺すぞこの野郎。いじめにあってるんですけど。よいしょ。これが。ほら、いじめにあった。俺もらえる。ほら見て。影のズームアップ。そこからズーム引く。ゆっくりと。そして彼女の。いや、いける。そんないける俺。あいと。どこがダメなんだ。
本当はこの家に何しに来たの?
Right. Like you said about microphone, it's going to pick up some type of underlying sound to it.
Right.
And a lot of sound engineers, especially on television and film, I mean, they'll get some ambient noise just so they can kind of have that on a track to control themselves,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty common thing. I mean, it's kind of why you have that boom mic up there, It's to kind of get the ambient pickup, and then you have like the more direct pickups with like lavalier mics and, maybe some other mics on the cameras and whatnot.
Well, and it's something that we had to, engineer ourselves with that in mind.
Yeah.
When we made the studio, you know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. But, I mean, it is funny to see that boom mic come in the shot so many times. It kind of adds a little bit of a little grindhousey, exploitative kind of vibe, because you see that in a lot of those old school exploitation movies.
Yeah, and it's funny is part of me wants to feel like Miike may have intentionally put some boom mics in there.
Maybe so.
Probably not, but it's my headcanon.
I would...
It's your headcanon, there you go.
I would highly doubt that Miike would probably see that shit and leave it in there by accident.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's on purpose.
Maybe he
decided to leave it in.
Maybe he just thought it was funny. Because in the end, it is funny. It's hilarious to see it there.
This whole movie is a black comedy, right? I mean,
right.
That's what gets you. Is we've got all these disturbing elements, right? But it's all done in a lighthearted tone, so it doesn't come off as disturbing, But at the same time, more so.
and that's something that Takashi Miike really excels at. It's the reason why I don't find something like Ichi the Killer all that disturbing, because there's like a whimsy to it that's just like a charm to it, even.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it's just hard to really take what's going on the screen as really, bleh, It kind of pulls you in. It hooks you. That's his hook in many of those movies.
It does. And I think I found myself hooked during watching this film. I just continually wanted to see more of the action unfold, even though the, plot structure was kind of non sequitur, and at times, thinking about the narrative, it seemed to kind of drag. And at the same time, there's an importance placed on the silent moments and the slowness.
Yeah, because that falls into that slice of life angle,
Right.
I mean, except the slice of life moments, it's always these moments of stillness in between all this fucking chaos. Like for instance, the abuse that Takuya unfurls on his mom, Keiko.
Right.
It's so freaky, dude. That's another weird situation.
There's a lot of weird little symbolic things about that when you really think about it. Like, for instance, that first scene when you see like the first beating that you see Keiko and you see Takuya, it's like, I mean, Keiko is doing a puzzle, And if you look closely, she's doing a puzzle of what looks like a happy couple or family or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
She's trying to she knows that her family is fucked up and she's trying to piece it together again. That's really what that puzzle represents. And then Takuya comes in angry that she apparently got him the wrong toothbrush, which is like, kid, you're old enough to go buy your own fucking toothbrush.
I
What the
know.
hell?
Little fucker. And what does he beat her with? He beats her with a rug beater, which in Japanese culture is very much seen as a wifely tool.
Right.
It's a wifely and a maternal tool.
And he has a bunch of them. He has all stuffed in a
Yeah,
closet.
he has a closet full of them.
Neatly stacked away.
Yeah, neatly stacked away. It's almost like he is purposefully taking what makes his mother maternal and everything and just using it against her.
Yeah, that's a good point. But, it's interesting, too, because Takuya's got a story of his own, like every bully that is themselves suffering from something. And in this case, it's almost a reverse situation because he's the
Literally.
one being bullied,
Yeah.
and that's why he takes it out on his mom, which, again, obviously doesn't justify the behavior at all,
But yeah, obviously.
but it does give you more insight into the character and why he's doing what he's doing. And that's immediately, succeeding that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in that single scene. Suddenly these kids start throwing fireworks in the house, which torments the mother more, Keiko.
I don't think that it really torments the mother. It gives her a moment of respite, honestly. It gives her a moment to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah,
a
That's
little
true
bit.
too.
Yeah. I mean, it acts as a cover.
Because those
so that
kids, her son is actually afraid of those kids.
Oh,
You know what I
deeply
mean?
afraid. And it's interesting that they attack him when, like, it's usually right after he's beat his mom and when
Yep.
he's wearing that mask.
It is when he's wearing the mask, yeah.
See, that to me is another interesting element of Takuya's character is the mask that he puts on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on.
And,
with
and
that.
then, but you juxtapose that. There's a scene where Keiko is putting on a facial mask. She's putting on a mask in order to try to be more womanly, to be more maternal and everything. But even in spite of that, he still comes in and beats her. You even see her with the mask still on, and she's getting beat by her son. And then shortly after that, a little more chaos ensues with the bullies, I believe. I think so, anyways. I might be mixing up scenes, but
it's easy to do that.
very easy to do that.
And then, you've got Keiko, of course, shooting up heroin.
Yeah, the heroin use is a factor in this movie, like even going up to the end of the movie. Well, we're going to go ahead and get into that here in a little bit, but it even ties into the first scene because that's why her daughter is whoring herself out, because she's got a habit that she's got to keep up.
Yeah, it's a repeating cycle.
Yeah, and that's a constant theme of this movie is cycles, cycles of violence, cycles of abuse, cycles of addiction. It's like that plays out over and over throughout this movie.
And ultimately, that's, the disjunctive factor here with this family. Not all the crazy shit that happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the problems that everybody would have. When the family starts doing, the crazier shit, that's actually when they come together, right?
Yeah, and that's really the mitigating factor, really, with the visitor being there. I mean, and that's why you kind of question whether he's really real or not, in a way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's almost like this force of nature that kind of is just unfurled on this family in order to force them to kind of, get their shit together. And,
in a sense, but also
yeah. By losing their shit, they get their shit together. Pretty much.
That's what I'm saying is they have what seems to be, actual like real problems in society, which brings them apart. And then all this bad shit, insane sequence of events that brings them together.
It's weird.
Exactly.
It's a functional family.
Well, it starts off very dysfunctional, but I mean, the visitor is the catalyst for all these changes that occur.
But changes, but like not good changes. This motherfucker's a necrophiliac now. I mean, his wife is a drug addict. His son beats his mom. And then what kind of fucking family is this? His daughter's a whore.
But at the end, they all come together, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that was
together. They're together by sucking on her tits. That's not together.
Well, You never had some titty milk, Dakota?
Well, I mean, it's the symbolism that's important there, and mother's milk plays a huge role in this movie. Needless to say,
What is it with Japanese people and lactation?
No, not needless to say, needlessly. Okay. Well, what there was a whole the floor was covered in milk. It was like an inch of milk on the floor by the time she was done squeezing her nipples.
Well, yeah,
the son was laying in the pool of milk.
Well, don't you get the symbolism there? It's all because it's her.
I don't care about the symbolism. What the fuck?
She's like liberating herself.
She's reestablishing her role as the matriarch of the family.
Okay, that's just disgusting.
There's an additional layer here when you consider that a lot of these things are fetishes, taboos.
Yeah, they're very much taboos,
right?
Get a new fetish.
But I mean, the mother's milk, it's all meant to show that Keiko is really trying to be the anchor of the family. I mean, her husband is unemployed.
I'm sorry, but guys, I mean, am I the only sensible one here? You guys are crazy if you think this is normal.
I'm not saying this is normal. I'm just trying to interpret what's happening in the movie in a cinematic sense, you know?
Because you have to here.
Yeah.
With Miike, I mean, there is an underlying theme here. There's a message, there's an allegory. We just don't always know exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's very much about the dissolution of the Japanese family, especially around that time. They were coming out of the late 90s, which was a pretty severe recession for the Japanese economy at that time. If you go back and look at a lot of the media from that particular period, I mean, you can see it in the anime, in the movies. I mean, that recession played a huge role in their culture and in that particular zeitgeist. It's why, like, it's part of the reason why the husband is, the dad is unemployed. It's really because he got goddamn sexually assaulted on camera, and then they decided to fucking run it.
He decided to run it.
He decided to run it. He was the one who
decided. That's the impression I got.
It might actually make sense because it's pretty apparent that the father is really kind of into humiliation.
Right.
And that's another.
He doesn't care because he kills the motherfucker and then videotapes it.
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Yeah. I mean, he's really lost any semblance of his humanity in so many ways. But he's also a very traumatized person. You know, I mean, he was pretty much digitally penetrated. You know, I mean, he was sexually assaulted himself.
And physically penetrated.
Yeah, physically penetrated. Yeah.
Physically, definitely.
Yeah, with a microphone. Which, like for an audio engineer like me, it's just like, oh, god damn. No, that does not sound like fun.
Oh, come on, Beau. I know what you do in your spare time.
No. God damn. So I take it that the more disturbing elements of this movie had some real impact on you, especially you, Dakota, because you're kind of beside yourself on some of this.
Crazy shit, dude.
Oh, like I said, I can't wait to show you Salo.
Oh, fuck.
But no, that's pretty much required professional film nerd shit right there.
You know,
honestly.
With Takashi Miike, it's always breaking the boundaries of the extreme. It's like, how far can you push cinema?
Well, that's the thing. It's not always like that with his movies. I mean, his movies have so many different flavors to them that you can't really... I mean, you can watch like 10 of his movies in a row and not see the same thing twice.
Well, no, I'm not arguing with that. Definitely, his movies have so many range in so many different genres, but I'm saying there is an overarching theme with a lot of his movies.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a recurring aspect.
Well, I mean, that's just part of being an auteur. You know, you have certain things that you fall back on, like certain type of themes, certain type of shots and techniques,
and think
certain
about
ways of directing your actors. You know,
yeah, and think about what his most famous films are infamous. You know, what is he most notorious for?
Well, he's notorious for the wild, over-the-top, stylistic Yakuza thrillers or the weird-ass horror movies that he makes.
Yeah,
like, well, I mean, he straddles the line of horror in many respects.
And this movie, oddly enough, is categorized as a horror film by a lot of people, which it's not. It's black comedy, but the movie is so disturbing that it belongs in that category of Asian horror, I think.
Well, I remember seeing a video just the other night on the subject, and the thing you have to realize about the whole Asian extreme thing is that that's very much a marketing ploy. It's not so much a genre. It's more of a broad marketing term for pretty much any type of Asian cinema that might be skew a little towards the scary, horror, extreme exploitation type of side of things.
Yeah.
I mean, and that usually covers movies from Japan, from South Korea, from Thailand, from from Vietnam and whatnot. It's mostly just Asian cinema. And even over there, they have a term for them based on their rating system called Category 3. And I mean, if anybody knows anything about extreme horror in any sense, you'll know what Cat 3 films are. And now a word from our friend Chaz Rab at the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast.
Hey, Collateral Cinema listeners. Chazzle Dazzle here from the Trial by Error Variety Show podcast. Just taking a few seconds to invite you guys over to what we do. Much like Collateral Cinema, we are a grassroots podcast. We invite bands from all over the world to come in, and we dig deep into their souls and find really cool stories to tell you, and there's tons of music every week. So subscribe to us wherever you subscribe to your podcast. We look forward to having you.
They're pretty much like... In Japan, that's anything from just a basic R rating to like porn, Like they pretty much just have the broad rating for that.
Well, that makes sense because all porn in Japan is censored.
Yeah, which is strange. I mean, we see a lot of that general censoring in this movie as well. I mean, that's
Parts
a
of it
customary thing.
And some are not.
Some of them, yeah. Some of it. I mean, I always understood that it was a pubic hair thing or something like that. They don't like showing pubic hair in public.
Then shave your genitals, then you don't have to worry about it.
I don't know. But of course, that led to all kinds of interesting things in Japanese culture, like, for instance, tentacle porn and whatnot, that whole thing.
Yeah, that seems to be the only thing that's missing here.
Yeah, naughty tentacles. That's the only thing this movie needed.
No, it did not need it.
It needed. Come on! The top. It would have been better with naughty tentacles.
No.
Visitor Q2.
Visitor R.
Visitor R.
Visitor R.
We were both thinking about what's after Q?
I know.
We're like, wait, not P.
Visitor R. Oh my God, what would that movie be like?
Miserable.
I mean,
would the Visitor still be in it? I guess so. He'd have to be some kind of omniscient character.
Yeah. It's a whole new cast. It's just the Visitor is.
Yeah. I mean, Takashi Miike has made sequels to his movies, even prequels before. Like there is a live action Ichi prequel. It wasn't done by Miike, but it is out there. There's also an anime for Ichi.
There is an anime for Ichi.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cosplay for Ichi. I could probably cosplay for Ichi.
Dude, you should totally cosplay as Ichi.
That's so easy.
Yeah, this Halloween you should totally cosplay as Ichi.
That's such an easy cosplay.
But man, what was the one scene in this movie that stood out to you guys? Like Dakota, what was the one thing that really stood out to you?
Robert, the necrophilia.
The necrophilia? Yeah, we haven't even gotten to that. Yeah, there's some corpse fucking that goes on in this scene. We talked about it a little earlier, going into the corpse fucking and all the shit and everything.
That's literally all the shit.
Yeah.
That's where this movie took a turn towards chaos for me. Like, and I knew it was coming.
Yeah,
I did my due diligence. I did a little bit of research on this ahead of time, which I almost wish I hadn't because it would have been that much more shocking. But no, like I knew it was coming, and yet still when it happened, I'm sitting there and
Funny thing is, I can think of one other Takashi Miike movie that has some necrophilia in it. It's Full Metal Yakuza, which is an interesting movie in its own right. Kind of a sci-fi Yakuza RoboCop mashup.
I think you tried to show us that once at your house.
Really?
I think you might have had it on once.
No, we'll definitely do that in the future, man, because that's actually a cool early Takashi Miike movie.
Beau, you watched this with Robert. What did Robert think about this?
Oh God, he talked to me about it too. He said this was crazy.
Yeah, Robert was just like, "What kind of rapey pedo bullshit did you just show? What kind of fetish shit did you just show me?" And I'm like, dude, we've seen like 2 of this dude's movies on the podcast. Well, technically, he's seen 1, Ichi the Killer.
I didn't watch Audition, and I wasn't on there, but when I was doing the video version of that podcast and throwing it on YouTube, I was able to watch what I believe is the most disturbing, part of the movie, the most memorable part, that one scene, the corpse fucking scene, the equivalent of that,
Yeah, pretty much like the piece de la resistance. There you
go. I was looking for the right word. I didn't want to say crux because it didn't have anything to do with the name, but
yeah.
But anyway, so I feel like I saw what I needed to see out of that.
Yeah, but you still got to see the entire movie because it's pretty much a subversion of romantic comedy tropes. It's really awesome.
You're a subversion of romantic comedy tropes.
Oh, I'm a total subversion of romantic comedy tropes, especially on Valentine's Day. Fuck.
Well, we're right in time, right?
Yeah. We're actually
2 hours in.
We're actually 2 hours into Valentine's Day. Isn't this almost like an appropriate movie to do for Valentine's Day, kind of?
Absolutely not. What the fuck are you thinking? No, shut up. This is not an option.
Necromantic
should be, that's the ultimate Valentine's Day
guys,
movie.
You guys have horrible taste, and I am so glad that I am not your Valentine's Day date. And I feel bad for whoever may potentially be your Valentine's Day date because that is miserable.
Oh, come on.
If I saw this movie on Valentine's Day, if a girl saw this movie, they would probably not talk to me ever again.
Oh
ever.
No, I would watch something romantic, like Antichrist. That's a perfect Valentine's Day movie. Perfect Valentine's Day movie right there.
And you're going to be single for the rest of your life.
Hey, that's fine. At least I watch badass movies.
All right, there you go.
That's fine by me, man.
Show of hands. Show of hands who hasn't gotten pussy this year.
Wait, we can't show our hands. They can't see.
Show your hands. It's Beau.
Well, we're only like what, two months into the year.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's plenty of time then. Plenty of time, bro. Plenty of time.
I'm just kidding. We shouldn't shame people for how much sex they do or don't have.
Yeah, sex shaming is wrong. So is kink shaming.
Yeah, you whore.
Which, there's all kinds of kinks in this fucking movie.
I'm sorry. I have to kink shame when it comes to necrophilia.
Yeah, that's a little bit. Yeah, that's justifiable kink shaming.
Well, if you know anything about guru porn on fucking on the internet, it's like that's kind of a thing in Japanese culture. It's like, and that even goes more extreme with it. Like,
but
think a death metal, like a Cannibal Corpse album cover, but just anime. That's pretty much in porn. That's pretty much guru.
I won't be watching that.
No, it's not. It's not pleasant. Not at all.
You know what? You know what is in porn though? Incest. It's just a thing now. You almost can't kink shame it because everywhere you go.
I will say that, yeah.
You're my stepbrother.
Well, here's what I will say, okay? So the first half of the movie, the only thing that was really, really questionable, I guess I can say, was the incest.
Yeah.
But even then, that's like, I can find that on Pornhub. You know what I mean? Like, first half of the movie, oh well. But you get to the last, third of the movie, and you're like, what the fuck's going on with this necrophilia and other scat and other shit is this?
And then you're introduced to lactation sex, which is
that.
incredible.
Even that,
that's
if you've
not
been
lactation sex. That is like over excessive amounts of whatever synthetic milk on the floor.
Once again, go look on Pornhub for about 5 seconds.
Okay.
Like, seriously.
Incest, we've all seen it. It's actually kind of like a thing now, and especially in Japanese porn, right? In hentai, right? Lactation, if you've been exposed to any Japanese porn, you've seen it probably, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but it's not pushing the boundaries yet. It's just weird, right? But when you get to the corpse fucking, okay? When you get to that 2 girls 1 cup shit that happens, mean actual shit.
2 girls 1 cup is fucking kind of tame compared to that.
Honestly, actually, yeah. But it's so humorous. That's what's great is we're talking about this, and when he's fucking a dead body and she starts shitting, it's hilarious.
I kind of have a theory about what that's supposed to symbolize. Hip corpse fucking. That's pretty much him kind of
How about
trying
it's him symbolizing him literally fucking a corpse? What else is there to get from that? What do you get from that, Beau?
It's him trying to reestablish his sexual prowess as a man.
That's what you get from that? I see him fucking a corpse.
And it's also him kind of reestablishing his actual paternal role within the family. because remember he can't. He comes early. Like he completely fails at being a man. Like even fucking his own daughter, he fails at it.
He fails at being a father, and he fails at being a man,
and he fails at being a husband as well.
He's insecure about it. It's the thing that he mentions. Well, when he murders that girl in the first place, he's like, is it because I came too early? And
that's just the catalyst for all of his frustrations, all of his, his sexual impotency that he feels and everything.
Yeah,
I don't know. Honestly, I just gotta say, I don't understand. How can you find symbolism in just necrophilia?
Because it's a Miike film, bro. Again, like you're supposed to, dude. I mean, Salo is a fucking goddamn work of art.
I love Miike. Miike's great.
Disgusting.
And again, necromantic. Necromantic is 100% allegory, right?
It's all about post-war Germany. That's what necromantic is about. It's 100% post-World War II Germany. There's even straight up like a kind of fascistic imagery that's kind of satirized in that movie.
And there are movies that are shock films for the sake of shock. I mean, you looking at a Serbian film or Human Centipede.
Well, even the directors for those movies would argue that there's a point to what they're doing. Even Serbian film, that's supposed to be about the Serbian conflict throughout the late 80s and early 90s.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I mean, I don't know if y'all ever remember that happening, and when old Yugoslavia broke up, and Serbia, and they went to war with Serbia and Bosnia Herzegovina. It was a very fucked up and brutal time where, rape was weaponized against innocent people. That shit happened, and that's kind of why they went extreme with the Serbian film. I'm not saying that they achieved that. I'm not saying that the movie actually really excels in that respect. But I mean, even the director of that movie would say that there's a point to it. It's just, do we get that point? With all the horrible shit that's in that fucking movie, which we're not even going to get into. Mm-hmm. It's best we don't even get into because Dakota might, have a fit.
An aneurysm.
I'm already am. This movie itself is crazy. He got his dick stuck in her, dude. She was dead.
Don't you get the humor in that?
And his wife helps him.
His
wife is all
his lactating wife, and which his husband doesn't even, her husband doesn't even make her lactate. It's the random invisible visitor guy who comes to the house who's omniscient, apparently isn't real. And then we got a lactating wife, a beating son, and a fucked up father. God, he's fucked up. There's wrong with everybody. There's something wrong with everybody. There are no normal people in this movie. There's not a single one.
Well, that's the point. The point is the dysfunction of the family. And it's dysfunctional in such an extreme way that, I mean, it finally just kind of crescendos and goes over the top. And then at the end, it just kind of settles into the family kind of mending their bonds.
It doesn't settle, Beau.
That's what the ending of that movie is supposed to be. Whenever, the father and the daughter, they're sucking on
nothing is settled.
They're nursing on Keiko's tits. Yeah, that's what that
settled.
is. That's what that is.
I have more questions at the end of that movie than I did before the movie started, Beau. Nothing is settled. I have more questions.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I'm having fun with this episode.
I quit.
No, don't leave. Don't leave. This motherfucker. I mean, this is why I wish Robert was here, man. He would be having a blast with it. He'd be having a blast with all of this.
Well, it's okay. He doesn't want to be here. So, you know what? Robert? If you're listening to this, I fucked your mom.
Aw, once again with the motherfucking.
Jesus. It's like, our thing.
You're gonna get us canceled somehow. I just know somehow motherfucking is gonna get us canceled.
Why would that get us canceled?
Okay? I don't know. It just will.
We're respecting each other's mothers.
Okay, I guess that's respectful. All right, that's fine.
If I don't do it, who will? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God damn this podcast sometime. I swear to God. Man.
We're talking about exploitation, okay? We're talking about visitor Q here. And you're gonna talk about getting canceled over an edgy joke?
Yeah, we've already talked about worse shit already in this episode.
Including literal shit.
Literal shit, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard that there's stuff out here that's worse than this. I mean, look at like what, like vomit porn movies?
Oh, there's a trilogy of movies made by this one dude named Lucifer Valentine called the Vomit Gore trilogy, and it's exactly as you think it is. Its first movie is known as Slaughtered Vomit Dolls.
Vomit. That's what I was thinking of. Okay, not vomit porn, vomit gore. That's what they call it.
It's pretty much vomit porn, just really kind of gory and stylized.
All right, moving on. So, Miike, do you know any other movies he's made? As the Gods Will, that one wasn't that bad. That one was a good one. See, I wasn't freaked out. That one was trippy, but that was fun. I wasn't freaking out after that one.
Well, that was one of his manga adaptations.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was adapted from a manga.
Really? Well,
same thing with
that was great.
Same thing with Ichi the Killer. I think that he has a parody of Super Sentai shows called Zebra Man. You know, kind of like Power Rangers, BR Troopers, that sort of thing.
おかわり。
これがまた素晴らしいんだよ。
はいどうぞ。
なんだよこれ。誰かの誕生日か。
別に。
ざっけん。
顔だけはやめてって言ったでしょ。
とてもいけるから言ってごらんこれ。肉汁。よいしょ。
ご覧になれますか。皆さんご覧になれますか。我が家です。我が家です。これが我が家です。来ました。元気いっぱい猫だけが来ました。これは妻です。妻です。はい、妻です。今日は料理が見事でした。これはすみません、試合にも何でもありません。我が家にいます。皆さん見てください。これをご覧ください。すごいです。すごいです。すごいものになってます。この包丁は女房です。皆さんこれです。もう私はどんな感情なのか父親として感情が分かりません。ただ我が家が破壊されています。めちゃくちゃになっています。どうか皆さんこの見事ないじめを
Zebras in America.
Zebras in America. My hooves. Yes, listen to our Freddy Got Fingered episode, by the way. It's fantastic. I mean, there's all kinds of interesting themes throughout this movie. I mean, we touched on some of them, like, for instance, the whole matriarchal versus patriarchal thing and how Keiko and her husband kind of reestablished their roles in that family through really fucked up ways. But the symbolism is there.
This movie was actually particularly empowering, from a feminist perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's a woman who is a victim of serious abuse, and in a way, she maintains her, what's the word? She maintains her own autonomy.
Choose your words
over
carefully
her,
here, Beau.
She reestablishes her autonomy over her body, over her sexuality. I don't know if she overcomes her heroin addiction, but I mean, by a certain point in the movie, that just becomes not even that big of an issue.
No, and then the father just continually gets humiliated. So it's interesting.
Well, his overarching character theme is failure, just outright failure. I mean, we touched on that earlier. But I mean, it is also humiliation. Like, for instance, he sits in the car at one point, clearly traumatized, and watches the incident that led to him being laid off from being a TV reporter, which was his assault from those three teenagers, and if you know anything about Japanese culture, they've always had kind of a thing with their youth delinquents, hell, they made a movie Battle Royale, which is kind of based on, the rise in juvenile delinquency that was happening for a little bit in the,
when looking up this movie,
that's what Hunger Games kind of basically came from.
Oh, the Hunger Games fucking ripped it off. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's exactly what that was. But Battle Royale, that was, when looking up this movie and, any other Miike movie, Battle Royale comes up. along with other movies like what's another one? What did I see on here? There was a bunch of good Japanese movies on here. I think I even saw Akira.
You know who else comes up a lot when I search up Miike films?
Who's that?
Noboru Iguchi.
Oh shit! Who did he do? What movies did he do?
I think Zombie Ass.
What? No, I can bring up some other interesting Japanese directors like Shinya Tsukamoto. He did another great kind of disturbing movie called Tetsuo the Iron Man, which is this really crazy, almost like Eraserhead style, like Japanese art house movie, and it's really fucking cool. It's got lots of different types of techniques, like it's got stop motion animation to it.
What movie?
It's called Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Tetsuo. I was
Yep,
just
Tetsuo,
looking this
right
up,
there.
'cause that's the other one that pulls up whenever.
That was
the movie I was thinking.
That's
of.
a badass fucking movie, and it's on
Yeah.
Shudder again. So
Tetsuo!
Yeah, that was the movie I was thinking of whenever I look up, any of the Miike movie. I get Tetsuo, which
Yeah.
is not even by Miike.
no, it's by Shinya Tsukamoto, who, by the way, if you remember in Ichi the Killer, he was Gigi. He was the old man in the tracksuit. That's Shinya Tsukamoto.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned that too.
Yeah, that's him. And another interesting director from Japan is a man by the name of Sion Sono. And he's done some interesting movies. He did Suicide Club.
I was just that one too.
Yeah,
Good.
Suicide Club. And he did another movie that kind of gets into some really twisted family dynamics called Strange Circus, which is a really, really almost
Circus, yeah.
almost Miike-esque kind of movie.
What
but
about-
even deeper than Miike?
You know, I was going to say, I'm glad you brought up Eraserhead because Takashi Miike is actually sometimes compared to David Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, his movie Gozu is pretty much an homage to David Lynch movies. Because, I mean, it almost feels like Japanese Twin Peaks in a way.
If you know what we mean. Twin Peaks.
Oh, you've never seen Twin Peaks?
There's two other Miike
You know what?
movies.
I've seen plenty of Twin Peaks in my life. Bro.
Oh my god, that's terrible. There were two other Miike movies that popped up when I looked up, movies like this, and that was Izo.
Izo. That is a really crazy movie that kind of transcends time and space and reality. And it has a lot of Buddhist symbolism and Shinto symbolism to it. It's got like some allusions to like Japan's military and Japan's government and everything at the time. It's a really complex movie.
I should have said three movies actually. And then there's Fudo.
I got that movie as well.
The New Generation.
Fudo is really cool. It's
Is
another
it?
kind of Yakuza movie, but it's based on a bunch of high schoolers. Yeah, that's a really cool movie.
And then his comedy, Dead or Alive.
Yeah,
Action comedy.
I have the first one. Like the entire Dead or Alive trilogy is on Shudder. I highly recommend everybody watch that. I mean, especially the first movie. It becomes delirious. It's just so fucking awesome.
Should we just do all three of them together when we get to that?
You might as well.
Yeah. When we do the Dead or Alive, we'll do the whole trilogy.
Oh, Rainy Dog.
Rainy Dog. I have that movie as well.
I saw that on here too. Yeah.
I have Rainy Dog. I have Ley Lines. He did a couple of movies called Young Thugs, which was kind of more of an autobiographical movie, kind of about his childhood and about the growing up a little bit.
What's Cold Fish?
Cold Fish, that's another Sion Sono film.
Sion Sono.
I have that movie, but I haven't actually sat down and watched it yet.
It's fun. You know the name. You know all these movies I'm bringing up.
Oh, I do. I know all about Japanese cinema and all these Cat 3 movies and shit.
The happiness of the categories.
See, that is actually interesting because that movie is kind of seen as almost a companion piece to Visitor Q because it has some similar themes to it.
I've seen that.
Yeah. You know how, like, for instance, it's another family where the main patriarch is kind of down on his luck, and the Japanese economy is kind of affecting the family in a way where they're forced to kind of make money, and lots of chaos ensues, but in its own right. But yeah, I mean, those are all really cool fucking movies, dude. Really, really cool movies. Now, what did y'all think about the Visitor himself? Like, what are your thoughts on that character?
Honestly, there wasn't much to go off of. He didn't really do much.
I'd like to think that in a way, the Visitor is meant to be the movie watcher.
Yeah, I guess.
He's like except he's not like really reacting to them in any negative sense. He's just kind of observing everything.
Except
in a way.
when he needs to knock him upside the head every once in a while.
Yeah. He literally knocks sense into
exactly.
the father.
I guess it is the viewers, it is the watchers, because they're there to just knock him upside the head every once in a while. You know,
it's like we're watching the depravity go down, and he's just kind of on the. He's kind of on the fringe of it all. He's even isolated from it. You can even see it in some of the shots in the movie.
Well,
there's shots where the visitor is visible through like a hole in the wall, and he's kind of separated from the family. He's separated from the father and from Keiko, the mother.
The visitor is kind of this omnipresent force. He's this ubiquitous element in the film. This titular character who's always there and always involved. And yet we don't learn really anything about him.
Yeah. And he doesn't really like encourage any of this shit from happening, you know?
He doesn't encourage or discourage, and yet it's kind of like he's given the credit for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, he does very little.
And yet he's just kind of the catalyst here.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Maybe there's some kind of allegory here with people's attribution to God in events, but maybe God is just there.
Well, like even the child, the son, he said, "Are you here to fuck up my family?" Basically,
yeah. Were you here to destroy my family?
And he was like, "Thanks."
and he kind of just inflects that himself, and then the visitor neither affirms nor denies that.
Right.
So it's just kind of interesting. You're left as a viewer wondering, is that the case? Did the visitor come destroy them? Did he bring them together? Can we even understand what's going on here?
What was with that fatherly figure type thing he was doing with the boy
with
too?
Takuya?
Yeah,
like asking about the sisters room and everything.
What the hell? That was weird shit.
Well, I mean, in a way, maybe that's what Takuya needed. He needed a father figure to kind of console him a little bit.
Because God knows, the father in this movie is completely incompetent.
He's incompetent. He's completely out of touch with his family. I mean, for fuck's sake, he sits there and eats calmly while his son beats the shit out of his mom.
It's kind of these caricatures of our worst fears or of our stereotypes. You know what I mean? You've got the father that's afraid of being incompetent and not being able to provide for his family. You've got the mother that's afraid of just being passive and, not being able to piece together the family. You've got the son that's prone to anger and the daughter that's
completely absent from everything other than a few scenes.
Not only that, but, daughters in society are kind of shunned from being sexual.
Yeah.
And using their bodies and having control of their lives. And in a way, her being a prostitute juxtaposes.
Yeah. In a way, she has that kind of control over herself.
She does.
I mean, it's I don't even see it as a negative attribute. I mean, yeah, she ends up fucking her dad for money, but I mean, in the end, that says more about her function as a sex worker more than it says about her as a daughter, I think.
Right.
That speaks more to that experience a little more.
She treats him like a customer.
Yeah, honestly.
50,000, yen to fuck me, and then when he comes too early, she says it's 100,000.
Oh yeah, she's a businesswoman. She's an entrepreneur.
Honestly.
Straight up. She's got business sense.
She's her own boss.
Now, what did y'all think about the actual technical aspects of the movie as far as the acting and the directing and the actual cinematography?
Well, we saw some boom mics, so clearly it wasn't that great.
Well, I mean, this was made for a very small amount of money. In American money, it was made for less than $70,000.
Oh, wow. That's a very low budget film.
And yet Tommy Wiseau spent $8 million on The Room.
I know, right? Give Takashi Miike $70,000 and he makes something like Visitor Q. It's like, oh my god, only Takashi Miike could do that though. He's the only one that can have that talent and that know-how to really put together a production in that short a period of time with that little bit of money and still make it cinematically relevant.
Yeah.
You know?
Imagine, give him that $8 million, see what he'll do with it.
I mean, I really like the actors in this movie throughout. I mean, the dude that plays the visitor is really fucking like he's very nonchalant. I mean, he's not like influencing anything, but you know, like I said, he's meant to be the movie goer, the movie watcher.
Right.
He's meant to be us,
The spectator.
the spectator. Yeah. I mean, I really like the actor who does the father as well. He's very over the top throughout the whole
Sure
movie.
is. And he fucks the shit out of that corpse. God damn, he does.
And the actress who plays Keiko, the mother, I mean, she imbues a little bit of humanity to her performance, you know? I mean, I think, honestly, she's the best actor out of the entire cast, honestly.
Yeah, so was the corpse, did they actually use the female, or do you think they used a rubber body after a while?
I don't know. I mean,
I wanted to say that was rubber because it kind of looked like it, but that could have been a really good actress. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I think they wouldn't have had the money to fake that like that.
Bullshit.
So she probably.
You think we had a good enough actor who was letting that shit happen to her?
I think that she was just that good of an
Dear
actress.
God, poor lady.
Wait, guys.
No, she's brave. Are you kidding me?
I get it.
Yeah. The scene where Keiko injects her husband with heroin to get him out of the corpse.
And
Don't know why that works.
おかわりおかわりありがとう
なんで洗えんだよ。
私の知り合いだ。しばらくこの家に住むことになりますから。
続けなよ俺のこと無視してていいから遠慮するなよやれよ
なんで CM が入ってんだよ。
じゃあ私先に寝ますから。
おやすみなさい
すみません。
なんだその顔よ。
アライグマの赤ちゃんに名前がつきました。ヘレンちゃんです。チーター動物園でアライグマの赤ちゃんが生まれるのは初めてです。
氷もらえます
今日のお話は子供たちに囲まれ園内の新しいアイドルとして人気を集めています。
Oh, I mean, he's instantly just like, oh, I feel great.
He's just relaxed,
I'm
too.
great. Yeah. Then, oh, it came out.
Oh, look, it popped out. And everybody's laughing. It's just the greatest thing ever. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's actually a very joyous moment.
And that's when
Not for me.
That's when the family comes together, like we said.
Yeah, that's when their marriage is saved, pretty much.
And he says, you know, when was my wife? My wife wasn't this competent except when we just married. And then there's that moment where they're murdering their son's bullies, and they smile at each other, and then they start hacking the bodies apart,
They're
including.
They're just so content with each other now.
Yeah, it's you know, it's family fun. It's
Fucking psychopaths.
Hey, you know what? You wanted to see those bullies eat it, didn't you?
Oh, of
Yeah.
course, man. They deserved it.
Honestly, I thought she killed her kid, dude. I thought that knife was in her kid's head. I didn't realize that he was still I saw that coming, actually. Honestly, he deserved it after the way he treated her
He
ass.
kind of deserved it in a way.
I thought
but-
she killed him. I was like, you know what? Go you. Kill your own kid. But no.
Well, I like
sad.
how she reestablishes dominance over her son. Like
She does, though.
after the lactation scene, like she's pretty much putting on a feast, pretty much to thank the visitor for
Yep.
doing that to her, pretty much, because it seems like a very liberating thing for her.
Yeah.
And like he throws a bowl of hot liquid at her and she's like, not at my face. And she grabs a knife and a cucumber in a very suggestive scene, chops the cucumber. And it's very much set to look like an erect penis.
Yeah.
And then throws the knife at her son and then takes a bite out of the cucumber.
It's like you're emasculating her son.
Straight up emasculating her son, which is interesting because in a way, her daughter emasculated her father at the beginning of the movie. I mean, it was an interesting juxtaposition of scenes there between parent and child.
In both scenarios.
And both scenarios still had a sexual element to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very much a sexual humiliation / emasculation.
You know what's interesting is I did notice that the son was left out at the end. Takia wasn't.
It was weird.
He gets kind of his own scene, his own catharsis.
Yeah, but he's laying on the floor in
his mother's
breast milk, like an inch of breast milk in the entire room. Like, what the fuck?
Isn't that kind of appropriate?
No, that's inappropriate
for his character arc. I mean, he's in his mother's milk. He's finally accepted his mother as a matriarchal figure again.
But I'd like to say that is the definition of inappropriate.
Be that as it may, that's the symbolism behind it.
And there's some piss in there too.
Some piss.
This movie doesn't miss any marks.
That's right. She was lactating and pissing at the same time. I forgot. Fuck, dude.
Y'all think that was piss?
It was yellow. It didn't look like cum.
I don't know. I think she was getting more pleasure out of that.
Oh, you're right.
She did have an orgasm in that scene.
I guess that's what that was.
Yeah, that was her orgasming.
See, you don't even know what it is. Exactly. It's what the fuck.
You wouldn't know what that even looked like.
Well, it's interesting. I forget which YouTuber said this, but there was a YouTube reviewer which said that throughout this movie, like, you kind of know what's going on, but it's so disorienting that you don't know what's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, you're constantly in a state of confusion throughout this movie because,
absolutely.
I mean, you're seeing this, what starts off as a slice of life just devolve into this kind of sexual chaos.
The very first scene is the daughter fucking her dad. I don't know if that's slice of life.
No slice of life.
But it's still kind of shot in a way that's not meant to be fully titillating. It's more of just like a fly on the wall type of thing. It's because he accidentally left the camera filming.
Right. And it's interesting too because, supposedly that's more common than you think it is.
Oh, yeah.
I shudder to think, but...
Yeah.
So... Wait a second. Why was that even a big deal in the movie then? Why did they make that an issue, him filming it?
It's to establish his own incompetence and his failure and just the overall theme of failure involved with him,
Okay, but I figured it would bite him in the ass later, but it didn't.
No, it actually doesn't. No. I mean, in the only other allusion we have to that scene is when Keiko is trying to get busy with her husband, and she smells his
dick, puts her mouth on his dick,
then
tastes it, she looks at him funny. He's like, no, he's wrong.
Then you see flashes of his daughter from the scene before. Yeah.
And then, but even then, like, that's all you get of that. She doesn't question it. They go to sleep, and you don't hear about it ever again. And the end.
She doesn't question that her husband has his dick stuck in a corpse.
Doesn't question that. No. In fact, the next scene, which you would think would be, oh my god, like, what the fuck? No, the next scene, literally, like, cause he goes from fucking a corpse to he's in the bathtub and his wife's helping him out and put warm vinegar in the tub.
I'm kind of wondering how much of that was kind of heroin induced, maybe.
Well, it was. She had just injected herself.
Yeah.
She goes to the store, is super happy to go get some fucking vinegar, comes back, pours it on her husband's dick.
Well, yeah. I mean, once again, that's part of her reestablishing her matriarchal, maternal role in the family.
Right.
That's what that is. Like, especially going out and shopping for something to help her family out. That's a very motherly thing to do.
She even makes a second trip to the store later, right?
Yeah, to get the deodorant. To take care of the stench of all the corpses that they have at their house now.
That they had to pile up in a tarp in the back seat to potentially chop up for the near future.
Yeah, they were going to do it one by one.
One by one. And chop them up in pieces. And they already had the lines on the chick already, so they're ready.
Yeah. I mean, the low budget here, I mean, it's really kind of interesting how they pulled off something like the lactation scene. It's like, that looks very real. I mean,
It's all practical effects.
it's practical effects, but I mean, it's almost like she's really lactating that much. I mean, I doubt that a human could actually probably lactate like that. But I mean, it's very exaggerated. But that it would be interesting to see how they actually filmed that, especially near the end where she's in the kitchen with the trash bag over her and everything. You know, it's like, how did they actually do that? It's like, I mean, did they have some type of apparatus on her chest for it? Like,
I don't know. It's probably what porn actors use in bukkake scenes.
oh, like, yeah, I would imagine. That's pretty much what that is. It's like a mother's milk bukkake kind of.
Moving on.
See, no, that's another interesting angle. Is
not
that it's
interesting.
almost like a reverse bukkake in a way.
Not
And
interesting.
again, female empowerment.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Dakota is so squicked out right now.
Cut this
I love-
episode.
No, I'm
Stop
not
it
cutting
now.
it. I'm not cutting it.
Damn it, Beau.
You want to be a professional movie podcaster, you have to watch shit like this.
You have to. We got to do Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, yeah.
Alright,
I have
alright.
that movie.
Closing thoughts, Beau.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, now would be the time to go ahead and go into our closing thoughts. We'll go ahead and start with Ash. What are your final thoughts on this movie?
First thoughts coming into this movie was, what the fuck? Further thoughts into this movie was,
What the
Miike
fuck?
is actually kind of a genius. Final thoughts, what the fuck?
Yeah, there you go.
Pure what the fuck. But this movie definitely has some actual points to it, right?
It does. Like I said, there's nothing that Miike does that's purely for shock value. There's a social commentary here, and sometimes I'm not quite sure what that is, but I know it exists.
Well, there's also that allusion to the Pasolini movie. And
Yeah.
it's called a Taroma. And in that movie, a mysterious visitor shows up at this aristocratic family's house, has sex with every member of the family, father, daughter, son, and mother,
And the maid.
and the maid, and they all fucking just completely go insane, except for the maid, who seems to kind of become like a Christ figure or something.
Yeah, I was
Kind of
looking
something.
into that. Yeah. So it definitely, I think, was inspired by that, but it's kind of its own thing too. Obviously, this film is not for everyone. But if you consider yourself a cinephile, if you consider yourself someone who wants to see the boundaries of filmmaking be pushed and is interested in not even necessarily just exploitative films, but
The darker side of cinema.
yeah, and I want to say the beauty of that kind of a style. Definitely, and also Takashi Miike fans. Obviously, this is probably the one Miike film that if you're not sure, this may be the one to stay away from, but at the same time, I don't think it was that bad. It just honestly was just ridiculous. It was just honestly hilarious.
It's a very funny movie, and to me, it gets funnier every time I see it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I've already seen this movie quite a few times. Like, I watched it initially when I bought the DVD years ago, and I was just like, whoa, what the fuck?
Imagine being a kid and watching this.
Oh, my God, I can only imagine. Dakota, what are your final thoughts, man?
I don't know. I can't think after this movie.
I
dude.
can't think after this. No, just at least give us just a basic opinion.
I really honestly didn't really like this movie.
You didn't like it, really?
No, I couldn't really relate with it, bro. I was okay, don't get me wrong. It was funny. I was laughing. I will say it did get me laughing.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? What is going on? I mean, there's some things that are just unnecessary. That lactation, what the fuck? That was like
Well, I explained to you what the lactation was about.
I know what it was about, and I can get the symbolism all day long, but is it really necessary? There are other ways to symbolize that. I don't think necrophilia has any reason to be in a movie.
Oh, then I need to show you Aftermath Genesis then.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This is even
Yeah,
crazy.
I need to show that to you. Oh, man, I'm going to have so much fun with my movie collection with you guys. So much fun.
No, it honestly wasn't that bad. It was fun, interesting to watch, but at the same time, it was a little overboard, and I had no clue what I was getting into.
Yeah, honestly, I can totally see that. And my final thoughts, I love this movie, honestly, because, I mean, it has so much symbolism going on underneath all of the craziness. I mean, Miike, it shows Miike's true talent as a filmmaker. Just the fact that he took a $70,000 production with digital cameras and still made it look good, made it sound good. It's like, it's rough around the edges, that's for sure. But it still has all of the thematic elements that he usually goes for. You know, like, of course, like bodily fluids is one of those, you know. And it has its own kind of undercurrent of themes of failure, of incompetence, of trauma, of bullying, of abuse, and cycles of abuse. I mean, it's compelling in that way. It's almost like a socio-political movie in a way. You know,
Yeah.
It's very socio-political.
I could see that.
But I really recommend watching this movie if you're able to find it. I mean, it's like I said, it's kind of a collector's item, so it's one of those Takashi Miike movies that's kind of hard to find.
I couldn't find it on the internet.
Yeah.
I had to get help finding this. I had to ask.
Yeah, I bought this movie years ago when it was like $10 or $11, you know. So, I mean, I had no idea that it'd become a collector's item like that. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that the copy that I have is a collector's item.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Damn.
But I highly recommend watching this. This is amongst Takashi Miike's finest works. It's up there with his craziest movies. It's even up there with his not so crazy movies that are still good. So yeah, if you can track this movie down, watch it. It's worth checking out. If you're a Miike fan, if you're a fan of extreme Japanese cinema or just Asian cinema in general.
If you're an otaku.
If you're an otaku, I mean, you'll love this movie. And it will satiate your need for seeing some weird ass shit.
You miss me with that weeaboo shit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, I'm just kidding. No, this resonated on a lot of levels as an anime fan.
Yeah, I can see this kind of being an anime in some ways, like some kind of weird, obscure anime, kind of like Midori Shoujo Tsubaki. I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
Yeah,
that's a very obscure underground anime that's really kind of twisted in its own right. That has a live action movie of its own. I don't think it's made by Miike, but if you're into that sort of thing, yeah, check this movie out.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to go ahead and start wrapping things up. We'll go ahead
what's next from Collateral Cinema, Beau?
What's next from Collateral Cinema? I believe we are doing Spawn next.
Spawn?
Yeah. The 1995, I believe, comic book adaptation. It was amongst the original comic book movies that came out.
All right.
You know?
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and it's a fun movie in so many ways. I actually legitimately love it. It's actually one of my favorite kind of, background movies to put on. Like, if there's just nothing else that I want to watch, I can always just put on Spawn and be kind of entertained by it. So, yeah, look for that very soon. Hopefully Robert will be there to talk with us about that one, hopefully. And also, I believe we're going to have a promo from them in the middle of this episode. Check out Trial by Air Variety Show. Like, I'm probably going to be doing a guest spot on that very soon. Be looking for that. Also, give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and Podchaser, but especially Apple Podcast, because that will, along with the algorithms, that will help us kind of move up in the rankings and everything. That will get more exposure to the show, and it will help us just grow even more than we have already. We're almost close to 5,000 downloads. So, yes, please, ladies and gentlemen, listen to our back catalog, binge our shit, get us to 5,000 downloads. We might even get together some kind of giveaway or something like that if we hit 5,000.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Maybe get some kind of DVD and maybe find some way on Twitter to do a giveaway.
We could do that, maybe. Yeah. And listen to Collateral Gaming. Our next episode, which we're recording next week, is going to be Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. If you're not listening to Collateral Gaming, that's Dakota's and my show. We focus on video games. You've got the same boyish charms and...
Yeah, the show needs a little more love, honestly, man. We need more people listening to them. Like, give them a 5-star review as well.
Seriously, do it.
Yeah, give them 5-star reviews all the way through.
But we're also looking into bringing some more hosts onto the show.
It's going to be awesome.
Expanding our roster and having some more guests on, maybe changing up the format next season. I've got some things in mind to kind of ramp things up, but we'll be excited to talk more about that later.
Yeah, and there's probably going to be some interesting things in the works for season 4 of Collateral Cinema. I'm thinking even some topical episodes, maybe.
Yeah.
Like maybe some top 10 list or something like that.
I think we got to shake things up.
Yeah,
honestly.
shake things up a little bit, you know? Analyzing movies is fun, you know, but I mean, there's some other topics that we can talk about cinematic-wise, you know?
Shake things up.
Kind of like how we did
Jerk them off.
with
Swallow
Collateral.
the jizz.
Oh, my God.
Shut the fuck
God
up.
damn it, man.
God damn it.
God damn it, Ash. Yeah, everybody, like, tweet at Ash. God damn it, Ash. Just God damn it, Ash.
Little did they know we've been using this the duration of this entire podcast to jizz in a cup,
Oh, my God.
taking turns, and
You need to be canceled.
Yeah,
whoever
you need to be
speaks-
canceled, bro.
You particularly.
whoever
that
speaks
sounds like-
last has to drink the jizz.
That sounds like some serious Reddit shit. That sounds like one of those weird Reddit horror stories that you hear
Guess
about.
we're not talking then.
Yeah, no kidding. We're not talking at all. God damn it, Ash. Yeah, it looks like Dakota is out of here now. Dakota, get back here. Damn it. Well, anyway, I guess we finally drove Dakota from the studio. But yeah, you can find Collateral Cinema on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, iTunes, Chill Lover Radio, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And look at us on YouTube as well. We need more views and subscribers on YouTube. So check us out. We're probably going to have some videos coming soon. Check out our Patreon, where we have full-length film commentaries for movies like Fire in the Sky and Freddy Got Fingered and The Room.
Seriously, I put those together for y'all, so watch them, please.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have The Room.
It's also my debut on this podcast was The Room commentary.
The Room commentary. So definitely come in there, say, oh, hi, Mark, and watch the movie with the commentary.
Ding.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, there you go. Ding. We finally got, it's late in the episode, but we got our Room reference.
That doesn't count.
Oh, come on.
I'll give it to you.
You're just being a pessimist, Dakota.
You know what? Don't plan too much. It may not come out right.
Yeah.
you go.
Become a patron on Patreon. We start at $1 tiers. Help support the show. Like between that and the 5-star reviews, that'll help us grow tremendously. With that said, we're going to go ahead and get on out of here. I'm Beau Maddox.
I'm Ashley Chancellor, and that's Tip Dick Chancellor.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
That's fine. Okay. Yeah. And Dakota Chancellor.
I'll let you get away with it this time. It's okay. I'll remember that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. See you next episode.
Drink my combo.
Oh my God. We are so going to get taken off of Apple Podcasts. God damn it. Laters, everybody. Don't pay attention to them.
大きくて姿が見えない海ゆらゆらと立ち上がりそして砕け散る波小さなあぶくがたくさんたくさん生まれて光に照らされてキラキラ輝くよキスして一つになったりまた離れたり少しずつ大きくなってそして弾けた時また海の水に溶けてゆくなんだかとてもなんだかとても私たちとよく似てるみたいそんなこと考える私をよそに裸になったあなたは水の中ばかりにいるそんな 私をよそにくつろぎきったあなたは空ばかり眺めてる空ばかり眺めてる少し離れてただ横にいれば何も言わずにこのままこのまま
Collateral Cinema is an L Company production. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.